Okay, welcome to another Backyard Professor chess video. I just came from outside and it is so blasted cold tonight. I'm going to warm us up on another game, this time by the former world champion, Vishy Anand. He continues to razzle-dazzle us with fabulous chess. This one just played 2 months ago, this year. He's still just sharp as ever. Vishy is playing white pieces, e4, e6, d4, d5. Knight c3, bringing out the knight early, of course. Knight f6, his opponent doing the same. They are only one rating point separating them. If I remember right, I believe Vishy is 2763. His opponent is 2762. So they are right neck to neck. And now, okay, so we've heard the wisdom. You need to develop your pieces. And all grandmasters do that, of course. You can't just keep moving pawn pieces. This pawn, however, has so much more value at this point than any of these at all. And so it's attacked twice. It's only defended once. One method, which is perfectly legit in the opening, is to advance the pawn, which our hero Vishy does. e5. And so he bumps the knight to d7. Now, again, notice that the knight does not lose contact with that pawn, right? By moving back. And yeah, the knight moved backwards. It's a double move. The other defect with this at this point is it hems in this bishop here for a bit. So black could potentially have some trouble developing. The other thing Vishy's pawn push does really good, and I say Vishy with the greatest of respect. Please don't take me wrong. No, I do not know the man. I should call him Mr. or Champion Anand, but everyone calls him Vishy, and so I say that respectfully, I promise. By pushing the pawn, he gains more space, and we all know that having more space means you can get more pieces to better effective squares and also to influence more squares on the board, no matter what direction. So you do want space. That is definitely an important imbalance that you want. Watch what he does. He pushes the f-pawn now. And granted, the f-pawn is probably, reserve it for just a little later push, not now. Anand shows us why he was world champion for so long, for so many years, because he knows how to play good chess. This is very important, and so is his opponent. c5, excellent. So this is definitely a battle for the center. This is definitely a battle for the center by occupying it. For now, with pawns. It could end up being replaced with pieces, but this is definitely a very full center. You can see that. This is not an open board. Okay, that's a factor. Another thing I want you to notice, they leave the tension for a few moves. It's not necessary. In fact, it's actually a mistake sometimes to be the one who takes the piece or takes the pawn. Your position is stronger, gets stronger by leaving the tension. And so this is quite interesting to observe that also. And again, another piece, and again, another piece. So we're starting to see it's getting to be a crowded board. And again, they leave the tension and bring in another piece. And they leave the tension and bring in another piece. So, wow, nothing has been exchanged and everything is moving toward the center. It's like a great big crocodile. Everything's being crunched in this center. Quite remarkable. Vishy leaves the tension. The center is already coagulation magnified, and he puts another piece in it. But notice the effect here. So much developed potentially can make it so that Anand can castle either side. Now, right now, you say, hey, now, hold on. You got to castle early. Not in this instance. Look, there ain't nothing coming through to get to either one of those kings through the center. If your center's weak or if it's sparsely populated with pieces and pawns, then yes, you want to hurry up and tuck your king quick, fast, pronto, immediately. Andale, andale, baby. Get the king to safety. Nothing's coming after either king in this situation. So see, there's value in being able to read the chessboard. Look at it, try to analyze it, and say, wow, I've never seen so many pieces in a game all crammed together. And yet the idea of putting off your castling gives you a better clue to what your opponent is thinking by where they're placing their pieces and how they are playing their pieces. Now, this is important because if it can give you a little bit of an edge, that's valuable. So again, another piece, and now the A6. And you say, wait a minute, a pawn move, he's hardly developed. Agreed. However, that's a mighty lot of squares that bishop's hitting without ever having to move. Because the pawn has been pushed, that bishop has increased its power dramatically. I just want you to observe that. So this will make it so that he can't come and start goofing off on the queen side and causing black some disruption. So that pawn moves pretty good. Finally, the moment we've been waiting for. No, not the checkmate yet, but the release of the tension. Now let's see how this changes the board. We can see this immediately. Now, white has this square influenced, which is in front of the backward pawn, right? Very important. Keep that in mind. And he has this square double held, and it's because of the backward. That's not a backward pawn, though. That's the pawn in the pawn chain. But because it's blockaded, eventually black's going to have to push the F pawn because this is very cramping. It clogs up the gears on the black side. Pieces can't get there, and they need to. Notice the white bishop, the white squared bishop, is the bad bishop by definition because the pawns are on the white squares. But because of the nature of the push gaining more space from Anand's pawns, the black bishop also doesn't have a lot of places to go in the center. Now, he can scoot over to here and start working, but black or the white hasn't castled yet. Anand has not shown what side he wants to castle on. So this is getting very, very interesting. Knight takes the c5, and now the knight takes the c5. And you can see, because of the way that they've aligned their pieces, we could have some further exchanges down the road, no question. And now Anand says, okay, let's try to look ahead. Don't wait until the crisis meets me in the form of this fabulous black bishop getting ready. That's the strong bishop. Don't give him a chance to come this far in, because look, you always want to pay attention on the diagonals where your queen and king are in relation to each other, just like you do when there is a queen and a rook, or a rook and a queen together. Bishops have a nasty way of surprising you. So Anand, being the great chess player that he is, and his opponent being the great chess player he is, So Wesley So is who he's playing, also can see potentially some very interesting tactics in the near future. Anand is trying to head that off. Kind of cool, no? And now he castles. Okay, so castling is done. The king is off to safety. Now, this is odd, and I know this is I'm goofing off a little bit here, but it looks like the king is less safe over here behind that wall of pipsqueaks than he is over here in that fabulous fortress of granite power. Isn't that kind of fascinating? Yes, that's an illusion, but it's kind of fun to just work with me on that, will you? Okay, now the queen is shifting. Just observe. Just observe. The queen is going that way. That way. Okay? We got that. Okay, now watch. B6. What would the point be of that pawn move supporting that knight when the bishop is already supporting that knight? Okay, one speculation we can do, because the board allows us to at least think this, and you want to look at every single piece and move, is the bishop now knows he is going to be limited. And so he can't put that on. And quite frankly, the queen has moved. So there's no point in emphasizing that unless you want to pin the knight to the king, which can be a useful pin. But he does have access over to here, but don't leave your piece hanging, because white in his shift has made a battery with the queen and the bishop up to this direction. And if he breaks through on the queen side, it could be pure chaos and a tactical battle. So I'm just pointing that out. Push the pawn, which also, again, gives the potential fianchetto of the white squared bishop. This white squared bishop isn't going anywhere there. But perhaps this can open up by him pushing this, and look at this. That could be a fork. Yes, I get it. It's already covered. It's not going to happen. Or is it? Who knows? It's backed by the queen. What if the knight wants to sacrifice himself here? And the bishop takes. And, well, no, that wouldn't work either. No, I'm thinking of, yeah, never mind. Forget that noise. The bishop wants to be free from babysitting duty, a fellow warrior. So put the pipsqueak to work. That's how that should work. And he does it beautifully. And sure. Okay, so now we're in a battle. We've all seen this routine before. White's going that way. Black's coming down on this queen side. And they've got to do it quick. Right now, pronto, immediately. And sure enough, A proper move to the proper side, get the queen involved, and sure enough, the bishop's the final minor piece to develop, and he brings it out, and the two bishops together in the developed field have great power that way, even though right now the pawns are stopping some of it, and great power that way, sweeping power. Better so than these two bishops, even though they could potentially have great power. So we'll keep our eye peeled on that. And now, bishop does fianchetto. That's really, truly the only way you're going to activate the black bishop for real. So, a small move, queen g3, but Anand is definitely preparing for a kingside attack. What do you do? Does black see? Well, now wait, and this is quite serious. He's got a bishop raking up here. He's got another bishop. All he has to do is bump the pawn. He's got another bishop raking up here. He's got a knight that can easily jump into this. He's got the queen over here coming straight across from the G pawn. And he's got a potential rook if he throws up that H pawn. So this is getting big very, very fast. How do we defend? Because everything is over here. That king looks attackable. And that's what Anand is starting to show. Does he begin shifting stuff back over there to react to the future attack of Anand? That's the question we want to ask. I wrote F3. I hope I meant F6. I do believe that's the move. He's going to try to take some of the sting away from that foremost pawn push. And now king to B1. And B5. So, no, he does not waste his time trying to focus on this side of the board. His power is here. You play where your power is. Go attack on the queen side. And you gotta hurry, as in quick. Now, the bishop, interestingly enough, will exchange here on the knight at c5. And the bishop now comes to life here, giving him an amazing diagonal and a chance to break up the pawns on the castled king side. So things are heating up very, very quickly. Does Anand try to say, okay, yeah, that's a pretty good power move. So I really do need to refortify this guy. Maybe I better start swinging my knight over here, move my king over and swing my knight into this so I can protect that pawn. Nothing doing. No, and heavens no. Anand continues to obtain the H file against that little pipsqueak up there on H7. So, and notice that it's not just a one-piece attack on either one of their parts. There's not just a queen going in, or there's not just a rook, or just a bishop, or just a bishop on a pawn. No, this is a coordinated effort to get absolutely everyone into the party, and it's going to happen. And his opponent is the first to crack. He pushes G6, and Anand immediately pounces on that. G4. Throw the pawns up. Fundamentally so. Throw the pawns at your opponent with the pieces backing the pawns. Do we see this Fundamentally, yes. The bishop's right here, backing these pawns coming forward. The knight is right here, backing those pawns up. The queen is right here, backing those pawns up. This is a suprema magnifico thrust. Absolutely so. Fantastic. And black is no less doing the same thing. Now he goes to b4 and the attack is on. Notice who gets to draw first blood in the actual attack against the castle king. And notice how much stronger the black attack becomes. This is a really important point that I love to emphasize in my games because we see this all the time. And yet there's so many people who still don't play it this way. So grasp this. That's a piece that black has gotten to the attack to. This is a mere pawn. There is no piece that is being threatened by Anand in his attack. So why let your opponent take the piece? That's the question. Do you let your opponent take the piece? Heavens, yes. You're not even going to worry about that. Because now, somewhere I messed up. I put F6. And it's supposed to be F5. I apologize. I meant to push F6. Yeah, that looks better. Sorry, I did a bad boo-boo move. I wrote it down wrong earlier. Yeah, because now the G is attacking the F5, which is going to crack open the king side. The downside of this, depending on how black responds, is he could be activating the rook along a file, right? So you want to be very careful with this. B will definitely take the knight. So material Anand is down. Does he care? He proceeds to eliminate the defenders of the king, even if they're just lowly pawns. Now the rook begins to get itchy. Okay, you're breaking open the hard shell around the nut, the king, and you're getting ready to go chomp on him. Okay, you need more defense over there. Now you can see that black is too slow. Even though he's up, he took the knight, and all Anand has gotten is 2 pawns. But, when you do the piece count, a knight is 3 and pawns are 1 each. He's only technically a point behind, and his position, his attackability is much better. That's what I wanted to point out to you. So the rook comes into play. And now the rook here says, oh yeah, once again, 2 items that is worth mentioning. And this is in the attack mode. So yes. Now Anand has a magnificent attack going, and he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces in on it, and 1, 2, 3 pawns in on it. I mean, come on, go, right? Wrong. Because there is a piece not doing his weight, pulling his weight, not doing his job properly. Bring out the whip and bring this guy into play, and look at the power. Rooks belong behind passed pawns. Now, I agree. This is not a passed pawn yet. I get it. Rooks belong behind pawns who are attacking as well. So this is the one guy not doing much. Go ahead and make him one of the stars of the whole show. Is superb chess. Right on. Now, rook. This is one of the consequences of an attack. When you crack open the king side, you do run the risk of activating your opponent's really strong pieces, and he did. And here it comes. Now, the best defense is a good offense, so come and get involved. This is a good move. Yeah, that's powerful. So at this point, there is a particular move that our hero Vishy plays that is simply exquisite. What is it? Now, the crazy thing is, there's a lot of good moves here. There really are. There's a lot of good moves because he has put together an attack with all of his pieces. That's what I'm emphasizing here. This is how to play chess. Right here, our hero shows us. Let's pay attention to him and emulate this. But watch how he carries out this attack. He goes with his strongest force, the queen, and he takes the e6 check. He wants to make sure that his strongest piece is able to head off the king if he runs. So that makes sense. Now, what is remarkable here is you go, but that's stupider than dumb because the rook can take the queen. Because if he does so, you've got this, and it's a double check. Once again, we see the pure power, the raw, pure, unadulterated Herculean power of that rook on the open file, backing the pawn. Because the queen can't just take the pawn and help out here. The king would have to move, and then it would be mate just shortly thereafter. Because once he moves, you've got a newfound queen and a rook and a knight coming into this, and you've got a bishop coming this direction, which can easily cut him off. So taking the queen shortens black's chances. So he does not take the queen. He has to move the king to f8. He doesn't have to. He chooses to avoid that line I just showed you. King f8. And now, ladies and gentlemen of the hero Vishy Anand, there it is, the crushing winning move. And this is where black resigned. Because there's no point in going on. You can't win. You can't possibly win. So that's the game. Very fun game. Vishy Anand, just 2 months ago, man, this guy has still got it. So India can be continually proud of this magnificent world champion. So thanks for watching the Backyard Professor videos. Appreciate all your love and support. More to come soon. Also, keep your eyes out for some shorts. I have some more tactics that I want to discuss with you and share with you and show you, because if you're not studying tactics, you're missing out. So I'm trying to do tactics through shorts. I will be doing some videos, longer videos with a better explanation for tactics, but man, they're fun, isn't it? I mean, this game is the game of kings and queens and bishops and knights and rooks and pawns. So, all right, you guys, thanks. Be good. Have fun. Do well. Work hard. Get lots of sleep. Make lots of money. And keep watching lots of the Backyard Professor videos. Lots more to come.